Thank you, Eni. And we're still going to have Eni later on, on the show. But it's still earnings season in Nigeria. But now let's drill down on the latest from the oil and gas industry. We'll look at Oando Plc, Aradel Holdings, and Conoil. Their latest earnings. For Conoil earnings, we see revenue was about 60.18 billion naira. Aradel revenue 538.8 billion naira. Oando revenue there 820.66 billion naira, and cost of sales we see that decline 766.84 billion naira. Joining us to unpack this now, I have Mr. Orji Udemezue, the CEO of Flame Consulting, joining me right here in the studio. It's great to have you, sir. Good morning.
Yeah,
It's
morning.
been a while.
Nice to be here again.
Yeah,
after a while.
It's been a while. Welcome, sir.
Well, I actually was away at Kigali.
Yes.
For my work as usual, building capacity around Africa.
A beautiful city.
So I just came back a few days ago, and it's nice to be in your studio again.
It's still a beautiful city.
Oh, always beautiful. Morning, night, afternoon, every time. You're free to move around, no security issues, and a well-run city, I would say.
Fantastic.
And we're looking forward to having a better, more secure Nigeria too,
Yeah.
where you can move around anywhere, whether it's in Abuja or Lagos or Umuahia or Kaduna, anywhere you can move freely without fear of kidnapping and all kinds of insecurity issues.
And it's interesting you bring that up.
And all of that. So
with how hot the weekend was, with Trump's
let's not go there.
latest designation,
Yeah, I think that's just
Nigeria.
a way of waking us up, actually.
Right.
Of course, you saw the news again. 70 people killed. Is it somewhere in Plateau or Benue or somewhere? In that whole middle belt.
The middle belt,
is going on
so much pressure
that
there.
needs to be opened up and dealt with. Whether the non-state actors are working in collaboration with anybody or not, we don't know. But I believe that America knows some things that we don't know. Remember some time ago, an American was kidnapped in Nigeria. They came in, rescued him, and left again. They have information about Nigeria. So much as, we don't want our sovereignty to be toyed with, we should listen and collaborate with them to see if this wave of terrorism, every other day, new terrorist groups with all kinds of names, Wolu Wolu and all kinds of things are coming up. And we'll hear about it and we do nothing. Recently I read that these guys are planning to use drones to attack. Do we have drone technology in Nigeria? How can we defend ourselves? Apparently they're importing technology from around the world to attack us, here without any defense. So I believe that while my friend Trump will always throw a word out, you struggle with it, I'm not sure he's going to attack. Pentagon is not going to do anything in Nigeria any soon. I believe that. He wants to see our reaction and make us sit up a bit. And in that light, I think I approve that statement he made. Let us come home, work with America, collaborate with them. Hopefully, I hear that our president is going to the U.S. tomorrow.
Right.
I hope they give him audience, and we sit together. Let us collaborate and stop these killings. It's too much. Nigeria is a place where 100 people are killed in one day, and life
we just
moves
move on
no
like nothing
flag,
happened.
Flying at half mast.
Right.
No presidential seizure of movement. Or government movement generally. Ministers, president, continue as things are.
I guess we need to place more value on Nigerian life.
In the Western world, 2-3 people are killed at once. Look at what happened in UK the other time. During the what's that ceremony again? Israeli event where the church, the synagogue was attacked. The prime minister flew immediately from a meeting he had somewhere else in Europe. Here we have hundreds, tens and hundreds dead, and we move on, fly around as if nothing happened. So this is not the blood of goats. This is the blood of human beings.
Right.
In a serious country, people dying in tens should call for serious inquiry. People are arrested, people resign, and we see things happening. But here, nobody says anything. Now, US has pushed us, and we're now beginning to say, we love religious plurality, everything is okay. Everything is okay with Nigeria, if we must tell ourselves the truth. Let something be done. Look at how there was a scare in Abaku, and people were immediately sacked and changed. Similar things should happen when people die in 3s, 2s, or more than 10.
We need the same energy.
With the same energy.
Okay,
the same action by the executive.
Looking at, Trump's social media posts, over the weekend, he did say that on Truth Social there.
On social, yeah.
So, looking at where we are right now, at our macros, we're seeing inflation, tending downward. We're seeing the Naira. We're enjoying stability, from 2024, maybe June into now, where we have a refinery now.
That's almost meeting our local demand.
Yes, almost meeting local. Exactly.
Right? Despite all the struggles and fights,
and looking at this social media post, how bad is this for business in Nigeria?
Well, like I said, it has caused the scare, diplomatic rallies and so on. I'm sure that if we respond properly, including the president's move to the U.S. tomorrow, and these things begin to get more organized, more discussion and organized way, it will be a positive for Nigeria in the end. Nigeria is a country that's at a very precarious time, so we don't need any more crisis. If you look at our economic indices, they seem to be getting better, particularly on the market trends. Stock market is getting more positive,
right.
Previously to this year, but economic growth is also inching up. We're somewhere around 4% now. Third quarter, I heard we did about 4.2 or 3%, and then inflation is also trending down. These are all factors that will give rise to a more inclusive growth. For now, our growth is not yet very inclusive. Jobs are not being created. Even though the private sector seems to be doing better, services and industries and so on. But we need to also continue, to focus on fiscal spend to drive appropriate, movement to market. For now, we're having a lot of portfolio investment interest in Nigeria. We need to match that with appropriate level of foreign direct investment, which will ensure stronger growth, more inclusive growth, and a more sustainable economic progress.
Yeah, so much to unpack there. That's a conversation for another day.
I'm around now.
At this point, and definitely we've not confirmed President Bola Tinubu is heading anywhere yet.
We just saw in the news.
Yeah, so those are the reports.
Whether he heads or not, let them engage.
Yes,
these days there are calls. Trump can call him, he can call Trump, and have a discussion.
But it'd be nice to get Trump visit Nigeria.
Oh, well,
that'll be fun.
And I will go have a good handshake with him.
All right, but let's get into some of these earnings now. Let's kick off with Oando, the Q3 earnings 2025. We see revenue 820 billion naira. That's down about 29.2% year on year. Cost of sales down. That's at 766.84 billion. But we see gross profit 53.82 billion. And then profit before tax, that's huge. That rose a lot.
Huge. 201 billion, 164, a whooping 164% growth against last year's 76.3 billion.
Yes.
And that is driven largely by increased production activity, high production uptime and all of that. And of course, some other more efficient asset management. You saw the recovery of some of their receivables and all of that, showing that the homeboy has taken over a market they understand very well. No more Ajip, any Italian company handing over to Oando. They understand the terrain better. I also understand that security operations around their operational areas are now getting better. So Oando is just a story, an emerging story of excellence, innovation and proper deployment of assets. Huge assets, totaling almost $1 billion that they acquired from Ajip, last year. And of course, their expansion into Angolan exploration and production market. And of course, the Trinidad and Tobago Cara refinery bid and all of that. So Oando is an emerging story of a son of the soil becoming an international oil company. So with the figures supporting it, all you can see in the future is a growth in all the top lines. Revenue growth, gross income growth.
Yes.
That's and
that profit after tax.
Gross profit before tax. And then, of course, if they manage their expenses very well, which I believe they are doing, you have a very strong bottom line.
Right.
164% growth in PBT is not more.
That's profit after tax.
So, I mean, this information that will give investors
210 billion.
Investors hope for the future. When they're doing some bit of capital restructuring, they haven't been able to give investors some cash benefits. They've been giving stock dividend, which some investors who have short-term or myopic view might think is not good for them. But if you're an investor who is willing to wait a bit in the medium to long term, that's a stock. That's a beautiful bride to behold. Looking at the movement, in their financial parameters, while even investment in fixed assets is also ramping up, showing that they are trying to strategically reposition their assets to be able to be more productive. Every company is a bundle of assets, and Oando has got these assets, in their lot. The next thing for them to do is to find a way to make these assets more operationally efficient, right from their loading bay to the several kilometers of oil pipeline, gas flow stations. Luckily for me, I also had the privilege of doing my youth service in Egypt, so I know all of these assets. Once they can, even the power plants and so on, there's a whole lot they got in that deal, which was, by the way, the deal of the year in the oil and gas sector in Africa. That's the Egypt acquisition. All right. So what they need to do is to position their governance, their team, training them very well, and ensuring that they're able to, strive out all the value from these assets. And all you can see in Oando fundamentals.
Right. And, talking about positivity, there we did see their upstream activity. There was improvement there. But for the downstream, not so much.
Obviously, because the owner of downstream, who has invested strategically there, is taking over. Our own dear Dangote. They recognize that Dangote deserves to dominate that sector, having invested heavily there. So what's happening now is that Dangote is trying, and is almost getting there, to provide the total needs of Nigerians in terms of PMS. And Oando being, very visionary, they had seen that happening, so they are no more emphasizing a lot on PMS importation. They are strategically, with this acquisition of Egypt, moving their activities more into the upstream and pre-export activities, which is working for them. There are a lot of other trading activities to do, though, even though the global oil and gas sector is a bit fragile. We don't know what the prices will be doing very soon, while the US and the allies are trying to depress oil price to punish Russia and reduce their capacity to fight Ukraine. We are hoping, too, that just like Gaza happened, even though there is still some clouds surrounding Gaza peace deal, but we hope that, as my friend Donald Trump did Gaza, he will also do Ukraine, Russia soon, so that there will be normalcy in that industry, and oil prices will become less volatile and less speculative. For now, it's neither here nor there. A bit trending down, but I know that when the war is resolved, normal prices and the OPEC impact will also resume in the market.
It's quite incredible. We did see oil jump as high as $140 per barrel.
This period. Yeah, sure. Yeah. It is just the Russia impact.
Exactly.
If that is resolved, normal pricing might resume, and that might see Nigeria again having the benefit of selling at beyond the benchmark price.
You did mention Trump, trying to keep oil prices down. How much of that
Not just Trump, the whole Euro, NATO, the NATO people, because it looks like while they were, blaming Trump for not taking strong action on Putin, the Europe themselves were the ones, sponsoring the war, buying Russia's oil and all of that. And with Trump's wake-up call, the way he just done Nigeria now, he woke Europe up. They began to now see that they had to finance the equipment for Ukraine to fight. They had to also stop financing Putin by stopping the purchase of his oil, and with all of that, Putin is feeling a bit economically stressed. And I hope with that he will come to the table to negotiate, and hopefully the Ukraine-Russia war might be resolved. We are praying so that my dear Trump can earn his well-deserved prize.
Quite interesting. He wants to keep all prices down.
Nobel Prize.
Exactly.
Which is so much desires.
But I hope that's not bad for business for Oando if oil prices stay lower.
No, I'm just saying that when this is resolved, it's now that Oando is feeling the pinch because of the low trend. It's most likely that if Ukraine is resolved, there's no more deliberate attempt to press down oil prices. And then you see Oando make more earnings from their upstream activities particularly, and of course their usual global trading and downstream activities will resume. And they're optimistic that they will continue to invest in that area, but with more emphasis.
Well, I said they're taking on a lot of debt.
You mean, sure. Yeah. They have taken the debts already. They are just trying to repackage, refinance them. If Nigerian banks can play smart at this point, they should play a part. Not just Afrexim. They are funded heavily by Afrexim Bank and AFDB. And for these African-wide banks to be involved, they are seeing a great future in this, in that business. Nigerian banks need to think a bit more long-term, even though you may not blame them because most of the funds in the Nigerian banking sector are largely short-term. But there are banks that have strong, build-up of long-term capital. They should be able to deploy that in good assets like Oando to enable them, repackage their capital, more like capital restructuring. That's also why they are doing, stock dividend and so on to avoid losing cash. They need all the money to ramp up activity with their assets so that by the time these assets begin to produce, both the lenders and investors.
Everybody's happy.
Will be happy in the future.
All right, so I'm looking at Conoil now. We see the revenue, 60.18 billion, down about 12.22%. Aradel, their earnings that's revenue, that's up 43% at 538.8 billion. Pre-tax profit, 300.7 billion. Looking at the result, what is it saying about Nigeria's oil and gas industry?
The oil and gas sector, even though the growth level is still not encouraging, I think it grew by about 1.6% in this last quarter, very well outgrown by services sector, industry, agriculture, and the rest of them. Something needs to be done more to ramp up growth and activities in Nigerian oil and gas sector. Don't forget that the rest of the world has been thinking climate change and all of that, de-emphasizing fossil fuel and so on. But with my friend Donald Trump too,
yeah, your friend.
It looks like more investment.
It's drill, baby, drill.
More investment is coming to the drilling industry. So I think Nigeria should position strategically. Other Nigerian companies taking over assets like Oando took that's a Egypt facility. Shell and other ones, I think things are still being discussed. I don't know where they have got in that supply and all of that. But like Egypt, like Oando has done, if we can have our own, Nigerians have served these people for more than 60 years. We have been the chief engineers, we've been in the field, we've been in the creeks, we've been in the deep sea and onshore activities. Let's begin to take over these assets. And we know our area. Shell and Ogoni will not be our own case. We know our people. We know how to, develop our people and so on, make them happy, and then drill this oil and bring out, value out of it. So I think the industry is still at a point where government should provide the right of way to investors to come in, and whether they're domestic investors, as Oando has shown, or foreign investors, let's ramp up activity in this sector. By the way, oil remains our major source of, foreign exchange,
right.
And we can't toy with it. Pending when the world goes totally sustainability and all of that, dropping. Let's make use of this now to support our economy, to make it more inclusive. When our economy gets to a point where we use the oil money now to support non-oil export, agriculture, other non-solid minerals and so on, that's the time we can now begin to play the game of climate.
So are you bullish on oil and gas stocks in Nigeria's stock market?
Oh, they are bound to grow in the coming days, I believe. Right. There's prospect of growth, but that growth may not be very huge. It might just go gradual as they invest more. And then, of course, for integrated companies like Aradel and, of course, Oando, having operations in the upstream and downstream and even the midstream and all of that, they may grow much faster than their contemporaries.
All right.
Because activities for now are very exciting in the upstream sector. Once efficiency is achieved and assets are being utilized profitably, like Oando is doing right now.
And our refineries can get all the oil they need.
Oh, yeah, sure. And then Dangote can also have all the supply of crude that he needs, and then provide our PMS need, and then, very importantly, remove or drop that over 40% or 30% consumption of our dollar in importation.
Right.
That's a very important. And then you see the economy now, and then the economic growth can now match activities in the in our market.
I dream of lower PMS prices too.
Oh yeah, sure. That will happen eventually when
as low as maybe 400 per liter.
Oh no.
Or 300.
You're a bit too optimistic.
Thank you so much. Great having this conversation with you. Dr. Orji Udemezue is the CEO of Flame Consulting. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
All right. We'll take a break now. When we come back, more on Business Morning. Just stay with us.